Funky Monkey Mixed Martial Arts here with Ultimate Fighter competitor Patrick Walsh. Pat, let's rewind a little bit and go over to the semifinals of season 19. And you went 3 hard rounds with Corey Anderson. After you lost that decision, there were a lot of people talking, saying how you weren't ready for the UFC. You were too busy keeping your hands down. Personally, I was impressed with all your head movement. You did a good job dodging a lot of punches for 15 minutes, and your wrestling was pretty well as well. So I was wondering, after that, you saw Corey Anderson win. You fought before him as the first fight on the preliminary card. You won that fight. How does that make you feel, winning a fight of a lesser value and not winning the finale, the final fight?
Well, it's tough. Everyone talking about my hands being down, that's usually a lot of people that don't understand the disadvantage I have on reach. With Corey Anderson, I think he had a 7-inch reach advantage on myself. He's about 4 inches taller and the same caliber wrestler as myself. So my situation was I needed to make up for 7 inches, so I needed to get inside without him staying on the outside. So my idea going into that fight was to bait him, get him to strike, my hands being a little bit lower, kind of taunting him to strike, so I could either set up my takedown or land some big punches without him just keeping me at bay with a jab and keep me outside. So it was a strategy. It obviously it didn't work completely where I was able to win the fight, but I landed some big punches. I definitely had a chance going in there. I was swinging hard, and he did the same. So I think it ended up being a good fight, but just a strategy with a body type. That's why my hands were down. But yeah, coming off a win in the UFC, that's something that I'm proud of. But third place, it's not too bad for the Ultimate Fighter. I think we had a lot of talent on this season, but it's definitely not something I'm satisfied with. I'll definitely still be chasing that dream.
Very good, very good. It seemed like a lot of the people who fought on the finale who were in season 19, they showed huge leaps of improvement. What would you attribute that to after you guys left the house?
Different people improving. I know Corey Anderson stayed his whole fight camp down with Frankie Edgar. So he stayed in New Jersey. He was working with Ricardo Almeida. He continued the training he had on the show with Frankie's team, Frankie's coaches, and I think that made a huge difference. Matt Van Buren, I'm sure he got better. It's just Corey Anderson's improvements were exponential, and he looked great. That's something I know a lot about. I went down to New Jersey to train with Corey before the finale. We got some extra work in. It was a lot of, it was perfect because he had somewhat of a similar body type to Dan Spahn. Eddie Gordon and Diego Lima, I was really surprised to see Eddie devastate Diego Lima. Going with both of them, knowing their strengths, knowing their weaknesses, I thought this was going to be a 3-rounder, and Diego was just going to, have a little bit more technique and just kind of keep the fight going and just have a little bit more experience than Eddie. And seeing Eddie go in there hard really impressed me.
Yeah, Ray Luongo had a good weekend with Eddie Gordon and Chris Weidman winning that weekend. A couple seasons prior to yours, a competitor who was on the show named Mike Ricci. With an interview with Ariel Helwani, he came out and said that if given the opportunity, he would never do the Ultimate Fighter again. He hated the experience. He hated being out of his comfort zone for that long. What about you? Did you like your experience?
The experience in the Ultimate Fighter, it's different. It's one of a kind. You never had that many alpha males, even in one gym, never mind living 24 hours a day together. So it's definitely a unique experience. A lot of people aren't used to it. They're used to always being the best and not having so many competitors around, not having so much testosterone pumping through one house. But I'm someone that's very adaptable. I loved, having a weekly stipend and unlimited food to be able to, train. It was exactly what I wanted. I would have stayed there for 6 months. Yeah, I guess it would have sucked, missing your family, missing, your phone, normal population, TV, radio, books. I like being social, so being limited to, maybe 20 people that you might see on a regular basis is something you need to adjust to, but it's something that I don't normally have. When I'm back at home, I want to train full time, but there's other obligations, there's other things you have to worry about. You have to worry about life coming up, life getting in the way. When you're in that house, there's really nothing you have to worry about. Your food is there, your training's there. You don't even have to worry about getting to training. They drive you. So it's something that I'm so glad I did it. I would do it again because it was the perfect training situation, and it gave me a lot of experience.
Awesome. Thank you so much. A few more questions. Who would you like to fight next coming off of a win in the Ultimate Fighting Championships?
You know what? I was taking a look at that. I was looking into the different guys. One guy that fought on my card, Drysdale, he's a top jiu-jitsu guy. I'm not sure how much striking he has. He really didn't impress me that much, but he did, have another submission win. But just recently looking up, he did fail his last drug test, so I'm not sure if that's even a possibility. That's someone that a couple people were mentioning, that, kind of calling me out for my next fight. We both won on the same night, so it kind of made sense. So that's why I did some research, but then just this week, reading that he failed his drug test was a little bit surprising, but takes that out of the equation. There's no one specifically I'm looking to fight. I'm looking for another guy that's coming off a win, has a decent record. So they'll really, they'll improve myself and give me some credentials without jumping me to a top 20 guy. So, any guy in, in the bottom 20 half, I think there's about 44 active 205ers out there. So one of those guys, definitely, you can't beat the best guys too quick because then you only fight the best guys. So I do want to have a nice long career in the UFC.